Well, while we try and patch through to Aba, we will continue our conversation. You know, before we went on break there, we were talking about the peace accord. Well, we lightly touched on it, and we do know that the leading candidates, all of the candidates rather, came together to sign this peace accord in which they agreed that they would accept the result of the election, no matter what it is. I'm hearing that we do have a clip that we can play to set up this conversation topic. Let's take a listen.
The members of the National Peace Committee have come to Anambra State to support a peaceful electoral process. We cherish Anambra State, and we cherish the peace and unity of Nigeria. We want to contribute our own quota to see that the governorship election in Anambra State is divorced of violence.
We are also confident that just like Edo and Ondo, the election on Saturday will be peaceful and the outcome will reflect the will of the Anambra voters. INEC has done everything possible to ensure credible elections in Anambra State under very challenging circumstances. I would like to appeal to all parties, candidates, and other actors to play their roles in support of the peace accord.
Peace for your generation. Peace for generations yet unborn. One thing I can assure you is that the police force, the army, and all other security agencies posted in Anambra State will remain calm, will remain firm, and will remain professional. We will ensure that nobody disturbs your peace.
There's no governor that will be elected that is not a son of Anambra. So we are only here, we can only support Anambra. Anambra comes from a very long tradition of political sophistication. And the people who are standing election, you can see from the quality of people who are standing election. So I think people should not be afraid. INEC has already done what needs to be done. The security agencies, as you heard me say, is the question of them just helping to convince people about why they are here and that they are not the traditional policing system that we are used, especially when it comes to elections.
I like to encourage, admonish, and plead with my followers, come out en masse and conduct yourselves peacefully.
I'm a lawmaker. I am very committed because I've appended my signature. That shows that we are all committed to the peace accord.
Well, I'm a man of peace. As a physician, I care for life. There's no need for wastage of life. So the peace accord will stand. As you see, most of the candidates are peace-loving people. I think after this, you will see a peaceful election come November 6th.
That's definitely what everybody wants to see, a peaceful election come today. We will talk, of course, about peace, but let's cross over to our correspondent, Abo Ejikeme. Abo, I hope you can hear us. Please do tell us where you are. Give us the situation on ground.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Femi and Steve, over there in Lagos. I'm in Oga, the home community of one of the leading candidates here in the Anambra State election, talking about Andy Uba. We are presently in St. Peter, Uga Ward 1, where the election is actually meant to take place. Just behind me is where the INEC officials are meant to set up their materials for the commencement of this election, but we can't see any of those officials here. We've been here for the past 30 minutes, 45 minutes. No INEC official here on site. I've also spoken to some of the electorates who have visited here as early as 7 a.m. this morning. Many of them came in without seeing any of the officials. They went back. I've stayed here also, and I've seen some of the voters coming in and trooping out because no one is actually on ground to give them whatever directive they need to go about the voting process. Some of the people on ground here are also party agents are here, PCC party agents are here, PDP party agents are here. Some of the observer groups are also here to monitor things. But presently, nothing is going on. It's just past 9 a.m. in the morning. INEC officials are yet to visit the center. Femi.
All right, Abel, do we have an idea of what's going on around the APC candidate who will be voting there later this morning? And what sort of enthusiasm have you noticed, if any at all, around his supporters?
Of course, many of the voters here have also indicated interest in casting their ballot. Of course, who else would you expect them to vote than just on the candidate living just behind this St. Peter's Catholic Church? That's Anambra, whose house is just over here. A lot of people here are enthusiastic. They're so happy, waiting patiently for these INEC officials to arrive so they could cast their ballot. The mood here is very calm. Everyone is happy, excited, waiting for these officials to come so that they could cast their ballot. We understand that Anambra is just in his home stead. They're waiting for the INEC officials to come so he could also come for accreditation and also cast his ballot. Steve.
Honorable, have we had anything from INEC at all in terms of time that accreditation will start, time that voting will start, so that we don't run late into the night, given the situation of things in Anambra? Are you working with any timing slots from INEC?
Yeah, just 3 days ago, the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, told stakeholders at a gathering in Awka, the state capital, that accreditation will commence by 8 a.m. up to 10 a.m. when voting will then commence up to later in the day. But for now, nothing is happening. No sight of any officials here on ground to even kickstart the accreditation process. We're still waiting, hoping that probably they've encountered one logistical challenge or the other, hoping and waiting that they arrive here anytime soon so the accreditation could begin. No one here has an idea, the faintest of idea, what's actually delaying the INEC officials. But until we see them, we can only wait and expect their arrival. Steve.
Thank you very much, Abel. Please do stay with us, Abel. Dr. Naji, I wonder if you have any questions for Abel in the field there. Yeah. As you said, he's in the home constituent area of the APC candidate, Andi Uba. And there isn't much activity going on just there, but we can imagine that that will change in the coming hours. Is there anything you'd like to ask, Abel?
What is the security situation? Do you have the presence of security agencies in that vicinity? And how are they conducting themselves, if any?
Yeah, while we were arriving in this polling unit, we saw a truck of police officers just stationed in front of Anambra and leading candidates' house there. But within the premises here, within this open field, no security official on site. While we were coming, we passed through several communities. We could see just a handful of soldiers who were manning the roads and checking each vehicle plying through that road. But so far, there is no security official in this field. Just a handful who were packed in front of the leading candidate's house just behind this open field.
That would come across as his own personal security details. Would you think?
Is that what you think, Abel?
Would that be your response?
It was the same because right here where the voting would actually take place, we can't actually see any police officer. We can't see the civil defense. We can't see the Nigerian army here. So we would say those are just the people deployed to secure the leading candidate in his apartment over there.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Dr. Useni too, I mean, he's got some observers over there. Dr. Useni, maybe you might want to share some perspective with Abel over there and what sort of role will they be expecting the observers to play and at what time will they be there? Dr. Useni, do you want to come in here at this point?
Sure. Unfortunately, I wasn't hearing him all that clearly, but from what I could make out of the conversation, it sounds like there isn't a lot going on at that polling unit yet. And those are the sorts of intelligence that we've been getting so far as well. That in a number of the polling units where we have observers deployed and where we have journalists with whom we are also interfacing, activity seems to be picking up very slowly. So we'll continue to monitor that situation and expect and hope that as the hours advance, there's a lot more activity that begins to happen at polling units.
Dr. Hussaini, you'll know that we were listening to some of the candidates discuss their intention to conduct and be part of a peaceful election process, even in the aftermath of a winner being declared. How much faith do you have in that peace accord? There's obviously an actual need for it to happen. And how much confidence do you have that it will be one that the candidates, all of them, adhere to?
Well, it's a positive step, and the fact that these peace accords are happening increasingly is a good thing, because even in older democracies that have been around for much longer than ours, democracy remains a fragile process. So to have candidates actually commit in writing and verbally to peace, I think it does have some impact, because some followers hear that and respond. But what's more important than verbal or rhetorical commitments, of course, is what candidates then go on to do. And we can't simply take them at their word and take them, take the commitments at face value. So we also have to play our parts in continuing to monitor and ensure that those peace accords are adhered to. And of course, unfortunately, with this election, the threats to the process go beyond just the candidates and the parties. So this adds a further complication to the question of peace building and securing peace. So I would just say the peace accords in general are an important factor, but moving beyond that and seeing physical or actual commitments to ensuring peace and then holding people accountable when they deviate from those commitments would go a longer way, I think, in securing our elections.
Dr. Hussaini, tell us what ultimately we should expect from election observers like your people that are on the ground. Sometimes what you see on social media, which I'm sure in the next couple of hours, will go, will become animated. What should the things we see on social media will ultimately or might be different from what election observers like your own people will be sharing with us. Are we at a time that observers could say that, no, this is not what we observed and this is our verdict on the conduct of the election? Do you think that that's the sort of a thing that will come out of your people's observation of today's process?
Absolutely. That's one of the factors that we're paying close attention to. And I'm glad you raised the point about social media, because aside from having observers on the ground, part of what we're doing at our organization is also monitoring the conversation online and offline and providing fact-checking to news and information that people are putting out. Because as you'll be quite aware, we're unfortunately in a context where disinformation and misinformation or fake news has become quite rife, both online and offline. So what we'll be asking our observers to do is to pay attention to the process from the commencement of polls and even before, through accreditation, through voting, through collation, and all the way till the end when results are announced, and to raise any flags that emerge, be it around security or around the process of the election or around the results, any discrepancies between what they're witnessing at polling units and what is being pronounced elsewhere, so that we can also help push that information to media platforms such as this one and out to the general public via our own channels, to ensure that the news that people are receiving is a reflection of what is actually happening at the polling unit level, at the local level, and not what has been cooked up in, some venues where, interested parties are generating false information. And this is an issue that has been increasingly a feature of elections in this country and of political and social developments in this country. And in the lead up to this election, there were several news stories that we had to debunk, including alleged allegations that the INEC officials, INEC chairman, in fact, had been attacked in the state. So this is just to suggest that the question of the online space and of what information is true and false will be a very critical one to pay attention to today. So the observers will help out in that process. But the media also has an important role to play in making sure that stories are verified and double-checked with people on ground, with monitors across the local governments before they are reported.
Absolutely. Well, talking about people on the ground, let's cross back to Amaesi, where our correspondent Jemima Boloko is with us. Jemima, I wonder if there's been any change in the level of activity. It looks like we can see a bit more happening there. Give us an update.
Okay, Femi, accreditation and voting is ongoing here at Amaesi Central School here in Anambra. If you look around me, you can see INEC officials fully present here, and they're all getting the accreditation done by people, and security forces too. They're on ground now presently.
Tell us about the security forces. What type of forces? Is that the police that you see? How many officers? Is there something for them to do? Are they just stood there? What is actually happening in terms of the security forces there?
Okay, let's say about 20 security operatives are on ground, moving around. They've been asking questions. Who are you? What are you here for? Monitoring what is on ground, and that's it for now.
Okay, you said accreditation and voting are going on at the same time. Tell us in detail what sort of method INEC has adopted this time around. Is it the type that you are accredited and then you wait for a particular time and come back to cast your vote, or after being accredited and you're certified to vote, you go straight, to cast your ballot? How is it being done at the moment? You said both have started.
Okay, as soon as you do your accreditation, you'll be captioned immediately by an electronic device. Yeah, I have a Reverend Father who was there, who just witnessed some challenges. Let me question him about that. Sir, can you tell me your name?
My name is Reverend Father Professor P.O.J. Umechuku. I'm a native of Inec'S, this town. I'm a professor of mass communication.
Okay, earlier on, I saw you.
I was the first to vote 9 o'clock exactly. There was challenges. There were so many challenges, but I think they are rectifying them.
What were the challenges that you faced?
Capturing the finger and the image of the individual. They are still having some there, but somebody came there and said they are going to work on it.
So you are still not done with your...
I have done my own. I'm the only first person to vote. I have done.
So
I've cast my vote.
Here?
I arrived here 8:30.
Okay, how long did the process take you to get it done?
From 8:30, I voted by 9 o'clock, so you can calculate it.
All right. Okay.
But let me correct something. This is Ames. The town is called Ames. Ames is a town, not Ames.
Okay.
Thank you. Can I go?
Sir, okay.
Thank you very much.
We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for the correction. Anyway, back to you guys. Ames.
Dr. Chima, can you help with the pronunciation?
Ames. Not Ames.
Ames.
Jemima, stay with us. We have Dr. Naji in the studio. I wonder if he'd like to pose some questions to you about what you've been experiencing so far. Please do stay with us there, Jemima.
Yeah, Jemima, from the last appearance you made to now, it appears a lot of things have happened. How would you assess the voter turnout as you look around?
So, sorry,
how would you assess the voter turnout as you look around? Are they coming in droves or in trickles?
Okay, for what I'm seeing, in terms of security threats in this region, I'm really impressed with the people around. If you look around, you can see queues, people turning up, people coming in bikes, cars parked. People are really turning up. I must say, I'm impressed with all the threats from various groups and all that. I'm really impressed with the turnout out here.
I mean, the first guest you had there was quite animated. You know, in addition to him correcting us all on the on the pronunciation of where you are, he also touched on the fact that there were some forms of difficulties in getting the actual voting process done. I know you asked him how long it took him to actually vote, and I don't think he understood what you meant. But I wonder if you are able to speak to another person as they come out and ask them, as it pertains to them actually reaching the desk and them casting that ballot, how long that has taken. But as we can see behind you, there does seem to be a huge presence of voters, and we can see a police officer behind you there. You said they were asking people questions in terms of identification purposes. But do you think that the people have accepted the police presence there as one of protection or one of intimidation for now?
No, so far what I'm seeing, it is actually peaceful and mutual. Everybody's going about their businesses, doing their accreditation, and so far the police officers are minding their business, just asking questions. Who are you? Identify yourself. Are you here? Where's your voter's card? And that is all so far.
Jemima Boloko, and she was able to talk to what seems to be very early voters, our first opportunity to speak to voters, and it was just one or two people she spoke to, but it did seem as though the consensus was that the process was ongoing and that the people there did feel safe. For you, is that a success at this point in the ballot process?
Well, I think it's probably too early to declare it overall a success. I mean, it's a good early indication to see that in some polling units, including the one that your correspondent is at, that voting has commenced. It's really good to hear that. It's good to hear that the new system introduced is by and large working, although it sounded from the first interview that there were some challenges with the Bvas. So it will be interesting to hear going forward whether or not those challenges with the Bvas continue and how they are resolved. And this is one of the things that our own observers are monitoring. Another thing that would be very interesting to hear, and I meant to even pose the question to Jemima if I could, would be about the gender balance at the polling units. Are women also able to vote, and are they coming out in similar numbers? You know, the folks she interviewed were men, and of course, you know, I'm sure that's as a result just of the proximity to those individuals, but it will also be good to see the extent to which women are engaging with the process, because this, of course, has been a wider concern, not only for us, the CDD, but for civil society and citizens more generally regarding the extent to which women are able to participate, particularly as leaders, but also as voters in the electoral process.
Okay, Dr. Hussaini, CDD, tell us what will you be looking for today? On the one hand, are we looking at the performance of INEC, and then on the other hand, security performance from the authorities? Are those, by your own estimation, the two key things that will determine the success of today's exercise?
I seem to have lost you there. I'm sorry. I can't quite hear at the moment.
Okay. Okay, are you able to hear me now?
It sounded like you were asking about what we'd be looking for.
Yes, what CDD will be looking out for in terms of how to measure the success.
Apologies, I seem to have lost the connection.
No worries. While we work on Dr. Hussaini's connection, Dr. Mr. Naji, thank you for staying with us, and thank you with your pay. We have two esteemed guests with us here for the show here. When we talk about the people of Anambra, in the Anambra as they've been referred to, as they are referred to, do you think that, as it stands now, it is very early on in the voter process, but we are seeing more people flooding to these voter ballot areas? Do you think that, you know, earlier on in the show we were talking about perhaps the information of the IPOB sit-at-home order not penetrating everyone in Anambra? Do you think that with these scenes, more people are more likely to get up and go out and vote?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was exactly what I signposted in my earlier submissions, because, like they say, seeing is believing. Now, there is a report that the security elements are not as is portrayed on ground.
Heavy in their presence,
and even with that gap, there don't seem to be anybody that had, tried to capitalize on that to make trouble. Because if trouble has to be made, it could start early to ensure that nobody even comes out. Because the frenetic nature of people scampering from Anambra to Enugu and all that, or just to make sure that they run away from what they probably may have assessed to be an Armageddon coming on, will give the impression that nobody will be on the street. But some people, even from your reporters, they have traveled a long stretch. No security presence and no molestation. That's right. It is not so much because they are press people, because they probably would not have been carrying so much insignia showing that they are press people until you approach them. Yes. So I believe that as words go round, that I have just voted, and somebody says, you voted, and what happened? You say, nothing. So the credibility, of those people who are making those statements will make other people to come out to vote. And don't forget that the fact that the voting centers, the polling units, are not supposed to be far away from residential places of the voters if they got these things right.
That's right.
Except those who may have voted at their places of work and now finding it difficult, or business, and finding it difficult to get to those locations. But if they, they register their neighborhood, it's just like taking another walk down the line. And that's why the man will tell you that I live behind.
It's just behind the polling
So even if there's trouble, he can't run away from it. So why not come into the arena yourself? So I believe that with this development, I'm personally impressed. Whether or not there's police presence, the important thing is that the people seem to have taken their destiny into their own hands. And like I said, there is a high level of motivation in this election. Try as it may have, the threats for insecurity and all that may have done its own bit, but it appears that the will of the people to come out and exercise their franchise is another factor that is, in fact, is higher than that threat.
That's right.
And let me quickly say that I commend Festus Okoye. He has been all and around every media trying to communicate what Inec is doing. But like Dr. Seni said, and I want to put it in an aphorism, it may actually be smelling like a bouillon cube, but can it season the soup? My drift is that it may sound nice. All the things that are said usually are not normally nice, but within the implementation process and the intricacies of maneuver, the final delivery may be very...
They taste a little different.
Exactly. Because all the effort they are making now look good on the face of it. But I just make sure that they just make sure that the whole thing seasons the food at the end of the day. So that at the dining, people should have a good appetite to enjoy. People of Anambra State deserve good governance, just like every other citizen of this country. Let us begin to turn the leaf. I think with the end of this administration, in terms of election for the president, Inec should begin to pick its pieces and redress some of the anomalies that have jeopardized the elections in this country, so that we can begin to breathe a fresh, some fresh air. When Nigerians are tired, let us use this Anambra State to showcase that it is doable. So that when you say election, people will be excited. And there's nothing wrong going full blast electronic. The Constitution has empowered INEC. All these ones they are running around at the National Assembly is that when a thief is making law, he will not say that they should kill the thief. They say arrest him, but he has made sure that he is able to contrive his way out of the trouble. So let us, for once, as Nigerians, have something to make us smile. Everybody is grimacing.
Dr. Hussaini.
Dr. Hussain, exactly. I think we should just bring Dr. Hussain.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you back here. Let's talk about the candidates. There are three, of course, popular candidates, leading candidates, front runners, as you could put it. Of course, we've got representatives from the APGA, APGA, as they're called. Of course, the APC, and you've got the PDP represented by Valentino Zigbo. If we were to look at these three candidates, that is Charles Soludo, Andy Uba, and Valentino Zigbo, I mean, dare I put this pressure on you to ask you, who do you think is positioning themselves in the best way to lead to victory? Is it too early to tell, or can you give us the name of someone you think may emerge should this election continue to be free and fair?
So our own approach going into this election was to pay more attention to the process. And of course, that had a lot to do with the fact that there were so many challenges in the process. We did, of course, note that historically, APGA has tended to dominate this state. And APGA is represented more strongly, not only in the governorship, but also at this level of the State House and with the larger number of representatives at the national level. But they're still very strongly challenged by PDB, which is, much stronger across the region, and is trying to position itself ahead of the upcoming 2023 elections to be the strongest national opposition party. So I won't go as far as trying to read the crystal ball as to who will win, but it promises to be quite a competitive event between these two candidates and the APC candidate, of course, who's backed by the party at the center. So, if the process goes as hoped, and that's where we're paying the most attention, then we hope that it's similarly a competitive election, and that the person who the voters have genuinely sought after will take power and be announced as winner.
Thank you very much. It does look as though we have our next correspondent ready to give us an update. Ovieteme George, please do tell us how things are happening there. It does look as though there is, again, a bit more activity happening where you are. Give us an update.
Well, a few minutes ago, staff of the Independent National Electoral Commission arrived at the OFI 002 polling unit here in the Sofia, Aguata local government area. And you can see accreditation has already commenced here. And eligible voters haven't gone through the process, meeting with the Inec officials to go through the accreditation process. But if you can follow me a bit, you'll see where they're trying to get their names sorted out. Excuse me, please. Excuse me, please. Okay. Now you can see that they are trying to get their names sorted out. They're trying to sort out their names. Those who can vote, of course, they will see their faces, their names here. That's what they are trying to do here at the OFI. Okay, beside me is an independent observer who has been seeing what's happening here. Please, can you tell us? So far, I haven't seen any security official.
That's the problem. Thank you very much. That's the problem. With respect to the various polling units I've visited so far, there are no regular election policemen deployed. Even as you can see here too, none of them here, except the two officials from INEC. No policemen around. No policemen.
But do you think there's any need for that? The people have comported themselves in this admirable decorum. No problem so far, so good. But are you concerned? Why are you so concerned about it?
If it is the usual process, then we should deploy the policemen. The usual process is that policemen should accompany the materials. It's a very serious issue as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, it's not the very first time I'm observing an election in Anambra State, and indeed in Nigeria. So I think the police deployment is key to what we are doing, because anything can happen at any time. That's the truth of the thing, about the thing. So.
Well, he's expressing concerns about the absence of security personnel here, but the accreditation process is still on. From this point where they sort out their names, get it right, they move to that point where the accreditation is taking place.
Teme, tell us about the. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Tell us what's happening there.
Okay, I said the accreditation process has started from that point where I was. They sorted out their names, and then they moved to this point where the INEC officials are trying to do the capture bimodal, which has just been introduced. So they're going through it, the face and all that. I do not think there's any challenge for now, but if there's any development, I would like to inform you about that. But so far, so good. It's working here at the OFI 002 polling unit in...
Okay.
Yeah, that's the name, OFI.
Teme, the concern that gentleman raised about not seeing any police officer is very germane. And he did say that that would be the first time of him, observing elections that policemen will not accompany voting materials to the location. What have you personally observed? Are you saying that there is no presence whatsoever of police officers around the voting area and in accompanying the materials to the polling booths? Is that the situation?
I would tell you, authoritatively, I haven't seen one. In trying to trace this polling unit, I first went to what they call the Civic Center. That's a polling unit also. I didn't see any policemen. I moved to another part, a primary school, where we thought it would be taking place there. And we didn't discover any policemen. And hopefully the observer that I just spoke to had to more like a tour guide for us, driving through a footpath, from the footpath to a narrow path on Third Road, and then we came to discover this place. From that point to this point, I haven't seen any policeman, no military personnel, no security agency, not even the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps here at OFI 002 polling unit, where the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, is expected to cast his ballot. He hasn't come yet. We're still here.
Understood. Dr. Hussaini, I'm really hoping you can hear Teme there. And please do take the floor and pose any questions to him. You have heard what he said about the lack of police presence there and how that has been unsettling news to some people on the ground there. Please do pose a question to him if you'd like.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Absence of the police presence.
If you could ask that question again. Yes, please, exactly, about the absence of police presence, what you think about it.
Which was actually observed by an electoral observer. That was his major observation, that first time ever that he will witness such a thing. Dr. Hussaini, if you have some thoughts around that development.
Sure. I can't exactly hear your correspondent, but the question I intended to pose to him is what he feels like in terms of safety. So does he feel safe, and does it seem like voters feel safe despite not seeing the presence of security forces?
Will be concluded by then. I just pray everything goes smoothly here at OFI 002 polling unit, and then we'll have to get to leave here. But for now, no security personnel. I'm a bit concerned. But why am I worried?
Yeah, but go on for me.
No, our guest in Abuja would like to did ask you how you feel personally about the lack of police presence.
Your own safety, the safety of the people around you. I mean, is that a major source of worry for you? Vieteme. All right, yeah, we'll come back to Vieteme there. I mean, Dr. Chima, you heard what the observer said on the one hand, and of course the question that Dr. Hussaini also posed, personal safety. Vieteme did say that it was concerning for him that no single police officer, accompanying the materials to the polling booth, and indeed, in terms of surveillance and security around, is that a usual thing during elections?
No, it just couldn't be. Like he even rightly said it, I mean, the the observer.
The observer,
who
yes.
himself had some, appeared to have some experience.
Yes.
Job. In fact, Vietnam seemed to have answered the question that he was concerned.
Absolutely.
But what could he do?
Yes.
So it's like resigning his fate. The job has to go on, hoping that God will do the needful.
Yes.
So I believe that it's really a big concern that in some places you have police presence in what looks like an excess number, to do the job there. And in another one, there is absolutely none. I actually would have loved to ask him if he knew the residence of the ABGA candidate, the proximity to that place, so that we also know whether there was a fair distribution of security elements, for personal protection of the candidate. Okay. But unfortunately, he has gone. But the truth of the matter is that I don't know why the police would state the number of, that staggering number that they have deployed to Anambra State. Even if Anambra is a small place. It is. A relatively small place. That if you have that number, you literally will have everyone in every homestead. But we don't seem, they seem to be missing in action, whether they are struggling over the so-called allowances and all that. But if the police authorities are watching, as I believe they are watching, because this is a very credible station, people want to know what is happening from this station. They want to know the truth. I believe they are watching, and they should redress this, because it does not come across well for their image.
You're right.
Especially where there seem to be some differential presence, and it does not seem that any of the observers or any of the correspondents have anything to gain or lose by saying the truth, in the circumstance they did.
And we could even see, we can
exactly.
see,
so that's and a lot of things seem to, the number of people that have come appear to be a compensation for the earlier, dryness of the place. So there is need now that if more people are trooping there, that there should be some police presence. That's right. Even if nothing else, to maintain order on the line. Because there will naturally be some skirmishes, even if it is not violence.
Okay, well, I think we go to Abuja. Dr. Hussaini will be leaving us at 10, but we'd like to get more of your thoughts. Dr. Hussaini, we were able to discuss the question that you raised, which we couldn't get to Ovieteme, but indeed, just like Dr. Chima said, he actually answered it. It was concerning to him. He was worried. But then Anambra has just 5,634 polling units, whereas what the police said was that they have deployed 34,000 strongman police force to the state. Even if you deploy 2 or 3 per polling unit, you will have enough. But that is not the situation that we have seen. Do you think that there is an issue with that, given that this is the polling unit where the candidate of the APGA, will be voting in any moment from now?
Absolutely. I think this is a concern. Of course, it's still early in the day, so it's possible that this is as a result of logistical challenges, including the payment question that you've raised repeatedly on the show. But yes, this is a concern. So this is something that we'll continue to monitor as the day goes on. And I think even beyond this election, unfortunately, this has been a wider concern that policing resources tend to be distributed fairly unevenly. So even as your guest was saying, it tends to be the case that policing is concentrated on the VIPs or on the areas where there is sort of state resources to protect, but particularly in rural areas, further afield from state capitals, we don't see as much of a presence of police. So it's something that we'll continue to monitor, and if it persists, then it will be worthwhile to continue to flag to the powers that be, because you know, even if we don't anticipate widespread unrest with this election, and we expect things to by and large continue to proceed, you know, within some kind of moderate quality, we certainly want at least some police presence at most polling units, because that will forestall, you know, any kind of further outbreak of unrest, and will at least assure voters that they're being watched and taken care of, and any sorts of attacks will be repelled.
It does make for quite unsettling information. I understand what you're saying, and you did say that, you know, of course you'll continue to keep an eye on what's happening on the ground and make any type of necessary reports should there be any need, should that problem persist. But if it does persist, and if you are forced to continue making more reports, what would happen next? What happens then? Especially since we're talking about something that's happening live, how can we continue to make sure that people do feel safe, and ultimately the democratic process of going to vote should continue?
I think what we can do as media, civil society organizations within the space that we occupy is make sure that those who are in power and who have the decision-making power are held to account and are encouraged to make the right decisions. So that's what we intend to do. Our observations, our reporting is all geared towards actually triggering action by those who have the capacity to do so. So even as, you know, I leave this program now and return to the team, I think we will do our part in trying to reach out to the folks who are within our own sphere of contact to make sure that you know, we are responding in real time to these concerns.
All right, before you leave us, Dr. Hussaini, I was trying to ask you the other time if you think that the success for today will rest on two pillars. One, the success in terms of actual conduct of the election, you know, vis-a-vis what the INEC is trying to do and making sure that a governor is elected. And then the second pillar being on that of security. It looks like, you know, maybe there might be a challenge later in the day, given the fact that there are important polling units that still do not have police officers. So do you think that those two pillars eventually will determine the success of this election, even if a winner does emerge later today?
Absolutely, I would agree that those are some of the most important factors that will shape the conduct of this election and the credibility of this election. So those are two factors that we'll be watching closely. But as usual, the conduct of political parties, party agents at local levels, the extent to which voters are also turning out to vote, the extent to which you know, parties attempt to engage in various forms of electoral malpractice. These will also be concerns that are high on our priority list as we observe the remainder of the election.
All right, Dr. Saeed Hussaini, thank you very much for your contributions these past 2 hours. Thank you very much, and we wish you a very happy day. Fantastic. Well, it does sound as though Abel Ejikeme is ready for us, and we're hoping that there will be some Oviatemi George instead. I was about to say what's happening with Andy Bvas back garden. That being said, we will cross back over to Oviatemi George, who will give us an update on that area. Oviatemi, I hope you can hear us there. Give us an idea of what is happening, and also can you talk to us about the demographics there? There are a lot of gentlemen behind you, all of them holding up their cards there.
The PVC?
Their PVC.
Who did not vote?
It is a near chaotic scene here at OFI 002 polling unit, where the candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance is expected to cast his ballot. They have been complaining all morning. They have been complaining that nothing has been happening. The machine is not even working. But let me just talk to them. Let me see if I can calm them a little to tell me what the grievance is. What is the challenge here, please?
The challenge is that the biometric machine is not working. And for the past 2-3 hours, we have been here. and nobody has been captured. Now, this is to 10. This is after 10. So, please, something must be done as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Okay, that's just the challenge here. Since morning, they've been here waiting. They were even here before officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission arrived. And now the challenge continues.
Yeah, nothing is working here. Likewise, what he said. And we are in the same soup. Nothing is working. This is my PVC. So I'm ready and prepared to vote, but nobody can vote here. This is my PVC now.
Ovie, tell me, I wonder if you can tell us. Dr. Naji, I wonder what the actual problem is. When they say it's not working, is that an issue to do with electricity? Is it the software itself is not working? I wonder if we can... Is Ovie back?
Yeah, Ovie back. So let's
What's the challenge here, please?
Sir, the challenge we are facing is about the issue of the verify and authenticate the voters. So I have called my engineer from the wards. They are saying the problem is all in the states, and they are trying to fix it all. And
it appears we have lost Ovietemi again. While we work on getting him back, it does seem to be quite...
I should exercise patience, they are coming. So that we are still waiting for them.
Okay, we just heard from the presiding officer here of the Independent National Electoral Commission that he has reported the incident, and hopefully something will be done soon. But the people are really getting angry here. Do you have the same challenge, please?
Yeah, I'm having the same challenge. We all have the same challenge. I've been here for more than 3 hours. It's not in our hands. Very soon now, the time we close up the distance, and here we need to vote and assess our franchise. Please tell them to do something.
Okay, that's the situation here in polling unit 002 Ofiyi Square. They've added square to it. Whatever it is, the situation is that nothing is actually working here. The INEC official is waiting for something to be done. Now, this is quite disturbing. The young man doesn't really have much information, just that he has reported to the superior officers about the challenge here. Well, this is disturbing. The Independent National Electoral Commission, which is the electoral umpire, should do something. Yeah. These persons are concerned about being disenfranchised. Maybe, just maybe, there will be some hope, some respite, and the machine will start working. That's the situation here.
Can you confirm to us that nobody has been captured so far and no voting has taken place in that polling unit? Is that what you are saying? Not one single person has been captured.
If I can confirm, if anybody has been captured?
Yes, please.
By the machine?
Yes.
Only one man came here, and the others have been waiting. I don't know if that man succeeded. There was just one person here.
He did not succeed. He did not succeed. He did not succeed. It didn't work. It did not work. He tried 3 good times. It did not work.
Where's the man now? Maybe
he's here. He's here.
And please call him. Let him tell us his experience. Okay, it also happened to you. Okay, please, sir. Now, what was your experience? So looking at that camera, what was your experience?
My experience is that up to 3 times, none of them worked out. So I'm disappointed. Upon INEC told us for long that they are prepared for this thing. We are disappointed. Look at a lot of people are here. Trying to. I was the 3rd person up to now, nothing is moving. I don't know why we are here. If they don't want us to cast the vote, they tell us, then we'll go. Than staying here doing nothing. So we are disappointed.
Okay, this man also has a similar experience.
We all are saying the same thing. We all are saying the same thing. The card leader is not working. We are here since 7 o'clock. Now it's 10 o'clock. Nobody have voted. So we don't know what to do. So you people should help us out.
Well, thank you very much.
Not even one. Nobody has
a concatenation of dissenting voices. They are really angry. They've not really gone through the accreditation process before the voting process. Perhaps if voting is extended, one may understand. Because right now, the machine is not working.
Well, Dr. Chima, you can hear what's going on there. I think it's a 3 pronged process, isn't it, for the card reader to check that your PVC indeed is what you claim it is, and then the fingerprint part of it, and then the capturing of your photo. Does that, if none is working at all, it looks to me like there's a disaster waiting to happen.
It appears it's a looped technology.
Let's hear from Ovieteme again, please, Dr.
Yes.
Naji. So
Yes.
We'll be right back to you. Ovieteme, what's going on?
I can hear you, please.
What's going on? What's going on now? What is the Inec supervisor saying? And from what the gentleman told us earlier, it says that they are expecting an engineer or some technician to come from which part of the state, and for how long will that take? Because people are getting agitated already.
If I can grab what you said, if there's an improvement, there is none. The machine is not working. Right now, it's stalemate. We're all waiting. If you can look at the crowd of people seated here, they are tired. They are weary, waiting to exercise their franchise.
Yes, I'm saying it. Simeon Anyon Chukwuemeka is my name.
But you have to be patient to see if you can vote.
You said?
You have to be patient for the machine.
If the machine is working, I will have patience. If the machine is working, I will have patience. Even though 2:30, I will have patience. So let them know what to do. This is an injury time. Almost 200 and something people are here, but none of us has been voted. You see?
Okay, another angry eligible voter saying it is injury time. I don't know.
Are you able to speak to any of the Inec supervisors of Yetebe? Any of the Inec supervisors? What are they saying?
I didn't get your question, please.
Can you speak to any of the INEC officials there? Is there any assurance that this error will be rectified? And for how long are people going to wait?
Yes, the INEC presiding officer is telling us that the machine would work, that the electorate should wait and see. Now he's making another attempt.
Okay.
Making just another attempt if the machine would work. Did it work?
It is not working yet.
Did it work? Testimony of what we're experiencing here, it is still not working. But I admire the resilience of the people here. They know how important it is to vote. Somebody will be at the helm of affairs in Anambra State, and they are determined to wait. Like the elderly man said, he's prepared to wait till 2:30, that it is already injury time, and I know they would wait. Even if it is up to nightfall, they are really indeed exercising patience. They want to vote.
But is this also the polling unit that the candidate of ABGA is coming? Is this the polling unit that the candidate of the party is coming to vote? Vieteme. Professor Soludo, is this the same polling unit where we'll be voting later? Is he coming here to vote, given that there are more than 200 people waiting who have not voted? Is that where it's also coming?
Well, it looks like we may have lost Vietnam, but they are quite, historic scenes there. Dr. Naji.
I think he can hear you, Adefemi. That's what he's trying to say.
Ovia, can you hear us? If you can.
If you can repeat the question to him.
Steve was asking.
Yes. He's answering you, Adefemi.
I can't hear him at all.
Oh.
Yes.
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 I can hear you.
It is the same polling unit where the former CBN governor and candidates of the All Progressives Grand Alliance is expected to cast his ballot. It is the same polling unit. Now, you can see they are still trying to sort out their names. There is no problem here. They are pasted all through, so you can see the names and everything that you need. But going over there, the second phase where the accreditation process will take place, that is where the problem is. The machine is simply not working at all.
At the very early parts of this program, when we were talking about insecurity or the chances of any unrest, it was because of other issues as it pertains to what has been happening in the state. Dr. Naji, do you see this escalating into some form of unrest? People are already quite annoyed. They've been there for a few hours, all of them with the correct documents they say they have, and they've not been able to vote. Could this tension rise into unrest if this issue is not solved soon?
Yes. People will make insinuations after they would have interpreted what is going on as a deliberate attempt to disenfranchise them and hamstrung the prospect of their candidate of choice from emerging as the governor. And once that gains ground, there will be agitations. And you can see so many of them, they are elderly people. And the young ones perhaps may not have joined, the queue. The queue, or maybe they are in the background. That's right. For now. So it is not likely that that place will remain this quiescent going forward if the situation is not quickly rectified. And even as it is now, there's need for reassurance beyond what effort the young man there, the youth copper, is making, because they seem to all be stuck together in the same mud. So there doesn't seem to be any hope. The hope has to be external, that there's somebody on his or her way to that place to rectify. And Inec ought to have, this was what happened even in a presidential election, where one of the candidates could not vote. And if the candidate was a violent one and said they are disenfranchising me, there would have been trouble. So we need to nip this thing on the board, especially when news filters in that in other locations, they were almost finishing the voting process. Yeah, you understand? So, and like I said, people are highly motivated. Those who will come to vote are coming on certain level of motivation based on their understanding and interpretation of this election. And so if somebody has that kind of motive behind, you see, people reason one way if they are highly motivated. When you are highly motivated, you are also highly opinionated. You don't seem to look sideways so that you have everything on a beam. A beam of light doesn't scatter. Otherwise, it will lack focus. So they will focus on their candidate emerging. Anything that constitutes a threat or an impediment to that expectation is to be confronted with what strength they have, depending on how much they can unleash on the system. So I think Inec, if it wants to come across as fair and firm, needs to make some pronouncements that will reach the people that they are coming to rescue the situation. And they should not make trouble.
Femi, it's even possible that the reason why the candidate of Abga has not, come out is because he's aware and is monitoring what is going on.
Of course, he will have his
If by 11, 12, that situation has not been rectified, I suspect that he will most likely come out and then make a categorical statement that this is unacceptable, this is happening to my stronghold. It's also likely that the governor of the state, and I'm sure that we may,
in some location will also be
So this is a major litmus test for INEC as things are, going on now, and it's not looking very good because allegations of voting not being fair. It's not just whether there are thugs snatching ballots, etc. It's also by systematic disenfranchisement of people, from voting. And people will say, we've been here since 8:30. We cannot vote. Your cards are not working. Maybe it's not a fault of INEC, but then who knows what is going on behind the scenes? So it's a major issue.
And you see, the candidate of Abga, if you remember from his nomination period, and the battle they had to fight, and the abuses that have taken place legally, as a legal practitioner, we were all very appalled by the way people, their desperate way they needed to seek
to remove him from running.
And having surmounted, at least seemingly surmounted all those impediments. And of course, you remember there were fracas in his community or town hall meeting, even before his nomination was consolidated, that 1 or 2 police officers or somebody was killed. So if you put all those things together, they will see that, they will interpret it that certain interest group don't want him to emerge as governor.
A pattern
through the legitimate means. So if that interpretation is given, the government, the APGA is a government on ground.
Yes.
And one thing you cannot take away from the power of incumbency is that they have their hands on the treasury. If they want to do anything, they can do anything.
Well,
and just yesterday, the Commissioner of Information released a press release that there have been ballot stuffing.
Yes.
In, is it 10 local government, and they actually listed those. Whether it's propaganda or to, the important thing is that those who believe in APGA would have swallowed the thing hook, line, and sinker. And if this one is happening now, it can be interpreted wrongly. This thing may be an innocent electronic problem, malfunction. You know, things can happen like that. Yes. But it is how much effort you make, and genuinely so, to redress the situation, and then make adjustments to accommodate lost time.
That's right.
And pronounce it for people to hear and know that you are trying as much as possible to be very fair.
Okay.
So if the communication is right, I believe they will get it right too.
Absolutely. Jemima Boloko in Inec'S is there with us, ready to give us an update. What is happening with you there? What can we see? What are you seeing?
Yeah, Femi, we're still at Amaisi Ward Central School here in Agwata, local government south. On my left, I have a police officer here, and on my right, I have an observer. So let's begin with the observer. Please, can you tell us so far, so good, what you have been observing since you resumed 8 a.m. today?
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. What I observed this morning, I can see everywhere people are ready for vote for these elections, and we have many queues of people who are capable to do elections. So this is what I observe, but unfortunately, the machines I think is delaying us. It's delaying us because people come for this election to vote. This is what I observed. Thank you.
Any observation of electoral fraud going on around or anything?
You said what?
Any observation of any indiscrepancies or anything?
Okay, we don't have problem on that. No problem.
Okay, let me turn to you, sir, police officer. You know, in terms of security operations, Anambra has been on the rise. What is your observation so far today, sir?
There's enough security at this polling unit. This place is comprised of 5 polling units. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's enough security. The only challenges we are facing is that the machine is not working fast, and it seems that some of the staff were not properly trained, and it's making people, delaying people. And you can see people have turned out very well to vote, to elect the eligible voters. As you can see, the crowd is too much, so it's only the machine that is delaying people. So we pray that if the INEC, we are looking forward for the INEC should do something immediately so that so that the machine can be fast in accrediting people for the process to go on very fastly. That is just it. But for now, the area is calm. No cause for alarm.
Okay, aside from standing at polling units, what other security measures are you guys taking?
We have enough armed men here, enough armed mobile policemen here, enough armed men. We have the people that are not armed, people that are watching over the election, and enough armed men that are security. They are security, both the INEC, both the security men and the individual that are coming to vote. So their security is ensured. So there's no cause for alarm in terms of security. So
can you give us figures of how many police officers are present here?
We have enough policemen, so I can't be able to count them as numbers. We have many numbers of policemen because this place is comprised of 5 polling units. So we have enough policemen here and enough armed men here, mobile police officers here, since that was posted here since yesterday. to guide this place.
Okay, one last question. What time is this polling, ward supposed to close due to security threats?
They will stop accreditation by 2:30. So people on the line, people who are on the line by 2:30 will vote no matter the time that they even though it will take it to 5, 6 o'clock, no matter the time. As far as you're on the line till 2:30, you vote. You have the right to vote. There is no security threat as far as security is concerned. We are on the ground. So there's nothing like security threat.
Thank you, sir. Back to you guys.
All right, Jemima, what's your own personal observation of the efficacy of the gadgets with the INEC? How long does it take for a voter to be through with it? Because, I mean, obviously, turnout is relatively high. And if the gadgets are malfunctioning, that might drag the process, as you rightly observed, till later in the evening. What's your personal observation in terms of an average time that it takes a voter, to get accredited and to exercise his or her franchise?
Okay, earlier on you saw me interview a priest. I monitored that course of accreditation and voting. It took about 20-25 minutes and he was still not done. So let's say around 30 minutes to do his proper voting. So he took time. I sent a video earlier on. So I'm wondering, with this amount of people, will there be enough accredited voters captured? And how is this going to affect the board in terms of giving out results later on today or tomorrow?
Do you have an idea of how many card readers? Because there are 5 polling units there merged in one. Do you have an idea of how many card readers they've got across each of the booths?
Okay, the card readers here, about 3 card readers so far that I've seen. So more are on their way. I spoke to INEC officials, they say more on their way because some of them have been having technical issues and all. So we hope they come on time because we're running out of time now for them to get accredited and easy access because of security threat. Like you heard the officer saying, every unit is going to be closed, every ward rather is going to be closed by 2:30 p.m. today. So let's hope and see.
Stop voting. Thank you very much for that update, Jemima. Let us cross now to another correspondent. We have Ozzy Okoli. Ozzy, I hope you can hear us. Good morning to you there. Tell us where you are and what is the situation on the ground there.
Good morning, Adefemi. And we are here in Anambra Community Primary School in Awka South local government. And we know Awka Central has the highest number of registered voters. So here in Ward 1, we have people still undergoing accreditation, and it's been very smooth. There's no chaos, no crisis. Everyone has been very, very law-abiding. And we have a couple of people who have also been observing. And to tell you the truth, we have more female, more women, more ladies, more girls coming out to exercise their franchise compared to the male folks in this community. I have with me an impartial observer, those who have also been monitoring this, and they will be giving us their view so far from what they have seen since the accreditation started. So you tell us your name and what you have observed so far.
All right, my name is Ugochi Ehiahurike. I'm the Southeast Coordinator for Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room and the Clean Foundation. So basically in these are Anambra Ward 1 polling unit 1. So we've observed that the Bvas is actively working, and the people have done with their accreditation, and the voting process is ongoing. Then the good thing that the Bvas is working. For some areas, they've reported that the machine is not working, but this particular polling unit is working and voting is ongoing. Like you rightly said, we've seen recorded turnout of women on the increase, and the aged, the disabled ones, they are here in numbers to cast their vote. And our call is that if such people can come out to vote, people as old as 80 can come out to vote. The disabled ones, they can come out to vote. Where are our youths? Where are the men? Where are they? This is now time for them to come out and vote the right leader. Not tomorrow they start talking that governance is not working. This is the time to make use of your voter's card because you're the CEO of this voter's card.
Okay, so you observe that the Bvas here is working. How many Bvas do they have here?
Here they have a one VAT machine, and it's working. It's working.
Okay, so let's also hear other views from people who have been here. We have also a partial observer. You tell us your name and what you've observed so far.
My name is James Ugochukwu. I'm the co-convener of Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room. So far, I think I need to commend INEC for sticking to their words that they are going to deploy men and material on time. So the materials arrived there on time as scheduled by INEC, and the turnout is still impressive compared to the fear that has been peddled prior to the election. And of course, I have 3 polling units here right now, and the whole of the polling units we have here, the Bvas machine is working very well. And of course, we had cases of people that their fingerprint cannot be authenticated, and they use the bimodal device, so you use their facial authentication, and it passed. We have just very, very few exceptions of people that were not accredited. And of course, according to the new guideline by INEC, once you cannot have these 2 bimodal, 2-factor authentication, you cannot be given an incident form. Incident form has been cancelled. But so far, the turnout is good. Another impressive thing is that people are coming in trickles, you know. They are coming in trickles. First of all, they come and, of course, maybe they tell the people at home that, yes, voting is going on. And the number of people are increasing, and more people are still trooping in here, as we are saying. So we are looking at a situation that before the end of the voting process today, we'll have a very large turnout of people here. Then in terms of security operatives were deployed in their numbers here, and the whole place here. The youths are here too, protecting their votes. And of course, we've not seen any incidents of malpractice or voters harassment or intimidation of anybody in any form here. So we are hoping that the whole thing will proceed like this till the end of the counting and collation process.
Okay, so thank you very much. You can see why we were trying to have the views of the observers here. We still have like 2 more people from the situation rooms to talk to. But at first, we have some members of the youth community here, especially one lad that says, look, I must air my view concerning what is going on here. And because we've accused them of the fact that we have more women coming out to vote, and then probably from his own view, he will be able to channel his thoughts to other people in the community to come out and vote. So tell us your name, please.
My name's Francis Chukuyakwe. I'm from Anambra here. So as you can see, we are very delighted that the election is going peacefully. The media are here, the women, the youth in general are here because we are those that will vote in the leader that will govern us. So I'm so happy that the previous election, this one I believe that it will be the best because there have been a argument that the election will not hold, that they will kill. I was one of those people that were insisting that the election won't hold, but today I changed mind that the election will hold. Because what is that?
Why did you change your mind? What made you to change your mind that the election is going to hold today?
What made me to change my mind because of the security apparatus. I see a lot of security. I'm convinced that the security is assured. I can see them well dressed, well organized. So I'm convinced to vote. For the past, 10 years I've not voted. I only collect money. But today I'll vote free. Free. I will vote free today. Free of charge. Whichever person. APC, PDP, APUGA, they are all my friends. So I will vote free today without collecting any money. So I'm very happy. Very, very happy that I see the media. And at least I'll be seen in national TV. It's my privilege to be seen today.
Thank you so very much. Okay, so we are still having observations from the people who have been here right from the very beginning. Some even came in before today. And from a very young gentleman beside me who has been agitating that the Bvas has not been really working the way it should be. Let us hear his own view too, because he's been very angry, standing beside me. You tell us your name and why have you been so angry all around here? Your name, please.
Yeah, my name is Mr. Manuel Nwokoye.
Okay, so you were so angry. For what?
Yes, I'm angry because the system is not working. The machine they used to capture people, it doesn't work. We've been here for so long.
But some people are saying that
everything is going on well. Security apparatus is okay. People came out en masse, yes. But to say that the system is perfectly working, I say no, because I've been here. Look at all these people sitting down there. They are the people who have not been, their earlier registered PVC have not been recognized by the system. So they are asked to wait for some time. We've been asking the girl to call their technical crew and see whether they can do something to the system. So that's why I'm angry. People are saying, reporting that it's perfectly working. I say no, it's not perfectly working, it's fairly working. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Okay, but from the look of things, it's like it will work, it will fail, it will work, it will fail.
Now. Why should it be doing so? Look at the people, look at all the people. You can get them.
Can we have a picture of the people here?
When we came here, we were just about 5, 10. But look at it. If it had been working, then people will be reducing instead of increasing. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so very much.
Saying, let them work on the system. People are orderly. The security apparatus is okay. The environment is good. Let them just work on the machine. Yeah.
Okay. So, from the look of things, the little hitch that we're having here is the Bvas machine, which to an extent will work, and then to an extent will fail, probably due to network. But with the patience of those people, definitely they will overcome the challenges of this Bvas machine. Over to you, Adefemi.
Thank you very much, Josie. We look forward to getting another update from you soon. Dr. Naji, you heard what he said there. In the early parts of his update, it did seem as though there was a stark difference between what was happening with him as opposed to what was happening with Ovieteme George. It seemed to be a lot more order. The demographics were different, far more women in the queues there. But towards the end of his update, there did seem to be the niggling persistence of some logistic issues, machines not working. What are your thoughts on that?
Just as I had said, the differential functioning of the machines. The one, it doesn't work. The other one says it's working, but it's almost as good as not working because it takes more time to sort out one particular voter. And you look at the number of people who are queued up to vote, then that means that it's a mission impossible. INEC should do something because this is an isolated election.
Exactly.
How would it look when we go for presidential election, or maybe general election, where you have all the states are busy and all that, and you begin to talk about this machine. Why don't they load down all the machines, have the entire 34,000 policemen to police the location of these machines, and dispense them as and where the need arises, so that the difference between time of dispatch will be reduced. If they are within location, because they just cannot afford to fail. Like I said earlier, that I made it in a rather what looked like an aphorism, that what INEC was dishing out was smelling like bouillon cube. That whether it will season,
you need to repeat it.
Yes, whether it will season food,
the soup,
is a different matter altogether. You can now see that the thing is not translating to seasoning. It's just ending at the level of smell. So they need to work on it, and I think the time spent on this field report is time good enough to have gotten some responses from the appropriate authority. I'm sure they should be monitoring, and they should be getting field reports from their staff, and also field reports from media outfits like yours. Absolutely. And you see, the other issue of training, how well trained are these? Because sometimes the functionality of a machine is as good as the operator. Right. If the operator is not good, let's say that a bad workman quarrels with his tools, you fiddle with it more and even spoil it further. So they need to ensure that those people who are deployed, especially to isolated locations, are the very best hands. Because for you to send help to them, if they encounter one, is going to take a whole day.
Absolutely.
And if some people read meaning into the fact that there's not a problem, they can even stop movement and then finally stall the election in that location. So there is need for what the psychologists will call SR mechanistic, the stimulus response. There should be quick response to the stimuli of report of malfunctioning.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Chime. Please do stay with us.